And we're live. Hey,
We're
Internet.
live.
Eric here. Whitey's here. Back after 6, 7, 10 months. I don't know.
I lost track. I don't even know.
Yeah, and what happened is now we find out StreamYard allows people to live stream through their phones, which means YouTube can get fucked more because yeah, what was it? They said you can't stream through your phone or some shit unless you have like 1,000 subs or some bullshit. So StreamYard just shoved it up their butts one more time and made it so you can do it through your mobile phone, which is good because now you don't have to drive like a half hour to get here, and we can do this whenever we want to now.
Yeah, and then I don't forget a wire and have to run back and all that kind of rigmarole. So
I kind of miss those days though, man. That was like your go-to thing every time you got to my place. You'd get there, you'd forget one cord, and then you would go back, and then you'd forget the other cord that went with the cord that you just got, and
and you could laugh at me the whole time and have a good day.
well, it was great. You made it so easy to laugh at you.
Yeah, I'm just like that. It's the same thing. It's the same thing at work. I'm the goof.
Yeah, how's that going now, man? Are you still at that place where you were making what foodstuffs?
Yeah, it's I work at a dry foods packaging facility, and so we you they bring in the ingredients and it goes through the lines, goes through the process, and it ends up on a pallet. It gets shipped off to whether, and every day I'm working a different line. So I've been working dump where they bring in 500-pound totes, cardboard totes full of potato flakes, and I use a power lift. I load it up to the hydraulic. It dumps into the thing. A cloud of potatoes dust goes all over the place, and then every time I go to the Casey's to get something, I pull my wallet. There's potato flakes coming out of my wallet.
That's fucking fantastic. Sasha's here.
Sasha, what's up, buddy? Good to see you again. I wonder
Yes.
if we can.
Yeah, Sasha, StreamYard now made it so we can stream through a mobile phone. So I helped Jay a little bit earlier, and then Whitey doesn't work on Fridays, and I said, "Fuck it, let's do it." Like normal, we don't know shit to talk about, but we usually get a couple hours out of it, anyways. What were you were talking before on your channel before we switched over here? You were talking about Ron Jeremy. You want to go ahead and start with that?
Yeah, you probably know more than I do. I was just reading the article, and he's got a multitude of rape and sexual assault allegations against him. He's pleading not guilty. I think he had his first. I believe he's in jail, and he had his first court appearance. I'm not going to read the whole article, but it's one of those things like I want to believe the facts. But you know more, as in all things, you know more stuff about anything than I do. And you were saying there's like a history behind this. Well, that doesn't bode well. But he's looking at life in prison.
Well, he's got to be in his 60s, and with
67.
Twitter, yeah, with Twitter, I follow a lot of people in the porn industry, obviously because free boobs and stuff. But I guess yeah, it was like 6 counts of rape or aggravated sexual assault. That is technically different at times.
Yeah.
I saw like the court picture, like him in the cuffs, and he look. I know it sounds funny when I say this, but he looks bad. Like even for Ron Jeremy, bad.
Yeah.
He looks like his face is like literally melting. And I guess this is going back to like 2004 or something. And some cases of people are saying like he raped them in nightclubs, and other times what it is like they go to like the porn conventions and stuff like that, and hey, let's have our picture taken with Ron Jeremy type of thing, and he'll grope the girl's tits and everything like that, or he's done it to porn stars as well, because he figures I'm Ron Jeremy, you work in the business, I can grope you without your permission type of thing, and a lot of times I guess they say he didn't just grope them. He did like I told you offline, like the Baby Herman thing, where he just under the in the dress just goes, and then, but yeah, I guess there's 6 counts, but apparently, um, you watch porn. Ginger Lynn is like one of the most famous porn stars out there, at least from the '80s. Like she's from Rockford, and she's gone public few months ago, maybe longer than that, about how he did it to her in like the '80s. So
Yeah.
and if he's got all those counts and he's like what 67, if he's found guilty, the fucker's dead. He's gonna be like he's gonna be like Cosby and Weinstein. He's gonna fucking die there.
Yeah. And then the only plausible thing I could say to his defense at all is that, you're taking a picture with Ron Jeremy and, grab a boob, tee hee hee, it's Ron Jeremy, and then 15 years later, that's not acceptable anymore. But is that something they expected him to do? Is that something that was common, or is this he just forced his way into that? So it's I don't know. There's really nothing you can say to defend it. Exactly. And then that's like if he's posing for a photograph and he grabs a boob for the photograph. I could see how it's like that. He takes 1,000 pictures all the time, and women are like, "Grab my boob." But then there's like raping somebody, and there's no defense. So I'll wait for the facts just as a standard, but it ain't looking good.
Like, see, I you know me, I even though it sounds weird with this situation, I do believe in innocent until proven guilty. But the problem is with Ron, it's like OJ. You know the fucker did it, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
Like with before Weinstein was found guilty, you know the fucker did it, and then justice prevailed or whatever, and then he had his little mild heart attack like 1 or 2 days later, of course. But there's a difference though between hey, can I grab your boob for the picture, just grabbing it. There is a difference. I mean, there's also a difference between that and sexual assault. I mean, that I don't know if that's just unnecessary groping. I don't know the fucking legalities of that shit, but Ron has been known for this for apparently a long time, and this started a conversation with a buddy of mine. It's kind of like the whole Kevin Spacey thing, like in a way, or Jeffrey Jones. Like, there's a lot of great movies, and I'm not talking Ron's porno, obviously, because he shows up in Trauma films. He's in Orgasmo. He's fucking hilarious in Orgasmo, and separating the I guess you would say the monster from the work, because Kevin Spacey's obviously fucking Looney Tunes, and he's innocent until proven guilty. But he's thrown people out. He's thrown the redheaded kid from Adventures in Babysitting on a bed and tried to get with him. But that's not going to stop me from like watching Seven or like Usual Suspects or K-Pax. And I fucking love Beetlejuice and Ferris Bueller. Jeffrey Jones was convicted of being a sexual offender, and I'm not going to stop watching those movies just because he did what he did.
It's like happening every day. As I was looking through this, Justin Bieber, not the Biebs. He's let me pull this up. Justin Bieber files $20 million defamation lawsuit against 2 women who accused him of sexual assault. And if anybody's going to walk, it's Bieber. Like, everybody else will go down but Bieber. Everybody else is going to prison with him. And then Hyde from the 70s show has charges against him as well. And the one guy that, I was reading the article on Bieber, and it started out strong because he's like, this is said to have happened at the Four Seasons Hotel, because he put on Twitter, I'm at Four Seasons, but he meant the restaurant. And somebody was like, oh, this happened to me in a hotel, but he was never there. And then it went on to all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, you lost me. It went on to, she just wanted fame. And it's like, look, just defend yourself. You were over at this location and she's lying. That's what you need. Don't assume motivations. Just it looks bad when your lawyer, it's probably his lawyer, is trying to be like, this is what she was, she wanted fortune and fame. It's like, no, just leave it at, she said you were over here when you were over here and you got photographs and video, security video and all that to prove it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of people like to play the lawyer card because it could scare the person making the accusations. It's kind of like, though, I mean, you're right. If you have proof that you're not there, why be so fucking scared? It's kind of like, with the whole Johnny Depp, Amber Heard stuff. Who with that going on?
I'm vaguely familiar.
Okay, well, Johnny Depp was married to Amber Heard. She was in like Hot Blonde. That's all you need to really know. She's in like Aquaman and Machete and like movies you won't be caught dead watching. But but apparently
is that the Great Gatsby?
She had gone public about Johnny Depp being a drunk wife abuser, wife beater, and it's come out now that he was the one being abused. Like she would egg him on, like he's a drinker, everyone knows that, but like she would put the camera places in her home, and after he's already pissed, I've seen one video, he's already drunk, and pissed off, and she's egging him on, and she gets him to throw like a bottle, not like at her, like if she's here, Johnny threw it that way, but he's still angered and drunk and violent, so she's using that against him. And I guess you find out that he was the one that was being abused. Like he nearly lost a finger due to her drunken abuse and this and that. And then recently, he's always claimed his innocence. It's pretty much been proven that she was lying the whole time. But now a lot of these accusations where she said she got bruises, he wasn't even in the state. He could have been like touring with Alice Cooper, or because he plays in his band, or he could have been like promoting the Pirates movies or some shit like that. So it's he defended himself. I don't know if he got lawyers or not, but just like you said with the Biebs, I still can't get used to you calling them the Biebs. But if you have proof that you're not there, you don't really need to waste the lawyer fees and everything. But then again, if you're Johnny Depp or Justin Bieber, you got the fucking money. Who cares?
Yeah. And it's a tough world because the rum diary. Why is the rum gone? Those type of relationships. I got a buddy at work. I probably shouldn't put too much of his stuff out there. Phase Beast 115, good to see you. But I had a buddy at work who had to go home early one day in a hurry, and when he came back the next day, he had gauze and bandaging on his forearm, and he had hospital stuff on his wrist. So I was like, "What happened?" And he's a big boy. He's like 6'4", 6'5", and he's like, "Yeah, my girlfriend stabbed me with some scissors." And I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And he said it with such nonchalance. He's like, "Yeah, the old lady stabbed me with some scissors," and I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it's Tuesday. She was about due to do that, right?
Yeah, but he made a good point. Because he's a bigger guy. If he defended himself at all, it's on him. So it's like I hear what the women are saying, but like you're saying with Johnny Depp, it's if Ron Jeremy comes out of left field and gropes you, you're a victim. But in a lot of these cases, it's like there's two sides to the coin, and a lot of women are trying to. And I don't ask me about women because I don't know, but a lot of women will like instigate this stuff to get a reaction. They're upset about something, so they start crap. And if you do anything at all, it's 100% on you, independent of those details. So Bieber's smart for lawyering up. I mean, you pretty much have to. And when you're a guy like Justin Bieber, you're talking to eat not only prison sentences, but hundreds of millions of dollars and losing, if they die. I don't know what his career is these days, but, that could cost you fortunes.
Yeah, and the thing is, I mean, me and you have talked this numerous times on this channel and on yours. The problem is with being a man, even if you're, and it's, people can argue this shit all they want. I don't care. I've said it many times. When a man is accused of a crime like that, and yes, I do believe 99% of the time the women are telling the truth, but there is always that one chance they're not. Okay, now you can't argue with me that that's never happened. And the problem is, even if the man is like exonerated 100%, let's just say, you know, some random person accuses you were 100% innocent. It's proven you took the bitch to court and all that stuff. There's still gonna be those assholes that are gonna be like, you know what? I know that Whitey guy. He's always watching porn. I never see him with his pants on. He's, you know, he hates women. He might have done it. And the problem
Yeah.
is, you know, all jokes aside, you're gonna have that stigma for the rest of your life, regardless, because there's always gonna be people that thought he could have done it, and that sucks, you know. And the problem is that is how society is. No one can really deny that.
Yeah, it's you make a good point about the details about me. It's like but I can't remember the last time I left the house to go COVID-19. You know, there's nothing you can do. I'm in the damn boonies. But it's like there's the optics of it. If you're the guy, the power of the accusation is just you pretty much were at a time where everybody just needs to buy body cams and put cameras all over their home and just always be on camera. And that's just what it is, because you know, if you're like, it does, you say every now and again a woman lies. Women lie all the time. It's kind of what they're known for. So it's like, but in this circumstance, the power of the accusation is
Gotta say hi to
hey
Roger.
Roger. The power of the accusation is such. It's like you're kind of screwed. Like you're saying, you're screwed no matter what. And so the guy's just always going to look guilty. And but like we were saying before, unless you've got a track record where she's an alcoholic or something like that, but it just that's my 2 cents in the whole matter at this point. With all this stuff going on, if you got $5 to your name, and even if not, go buy body cams and put cameras everywhere and always be on camera, because it's like anybody.
And see, that's the thing though, with like the whole Johnny Depp situation. When he got started, like, you know, 21 Jump Street and that, he's always getting arrested for trashing hotel rooms. So he's got, you know, the past history, even though it's fucking 20, 30 years ago, of being a troublemaker, being violent, all that shit. So again, there's that stigma, like maybe he really did it, even though that it's pretty much been proven she was beating the shit out of him and caused him to almost lose his finger and blah blah blah. They're gonna be like, maybe. But then you got all these people bringing up this past shit. Like, did you hear about Winona Ryder bringing up an interview she did like decades ago about Mel Gibson, you know, doing his homophobic and I hate the Jews type of stuff? It's been 20 years when that incident happened with her. I'm like, you keep drudging up this old shit. You know, let's look at the whole a person's going to learn from their mistakes type of thing. How can he ever move past it or learn if you keep drudging this shit up? It's like this. I fucking hate Howard Stern. Okay, hate him. Don't never really found him funny. I always liked his guests. And on this channel, we don't really delve into politics. That's more like your political channel. But what I'm going to talk about is like Howard Stern and Trump are always picking at each other. And Trump Jr. Made a joke or a statement about how Trump or how Stern once did a blackface joke, and you know he had fried chicken, watermelon, and all that stuff. He dropped the N bomb and this and that, and that again was like 1996, 1997. And I'm not defending Stern because, like I said, I fucking hate him. At least like it's comedy. I never found him funny because it's all, you know, fart jokes. You know me and fart jokes. I fucking hate him. But he says he's a changed man now. I guess his show is still on and it's totally different. It's less crude. Don't know, don't care. But again, the man's moved on. How can the man move on if you keep drudging up this shit from 20, 30 years ago? You know, it's like I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I don't like Jimmy Fallon. I don't give a fuck that they dressed in blackface trying to be a basketball player or Chris Rock, because it was fucking 20 years ago. Now, if they did it today, there's a perfect case, you know? But then again, also, it seems like comedy has this little bit of leeway, I guess, in it.
Yeah, that's tough because what now happens is the kids today don't understand the context any longer. So when the whole Apu thing came up with The Simpsons, the guy's like, I had to. People said thank you, come again all the time. You got to understand that in the late '80s, early '90s, that was a step forward. So all those Simpsons characters were like Apu. I don't know what the perception of people from India would have been in 1989, 1992, but it probably wasn't generally speaking positive. So when The Simpsons portrayed Apu, all the characters are generally speaking stereotypes, but he was a loving, caring family man. He was a hard worker. He was a nice guy. This was a step forward and a progressive step forward in acceptance and tolerance. Here's this Indian guy that generally speaking most people wouldn't know too much about, and he was portrayed as a good guy generally speaking. But by 20 years later standards, oh, that's a horrible stereotype. The context changes. So you made a joke 20 years ago in a given context in relation to something that now the kids in college aren't familiar with that context anymore. There's a lot of movies and stuff that I'll mention at work or something, and the 20-year-olds next to me are like, "What's that?" And I'm like, that used to be commonly known stuff. Like I was thinking about Waco, Texas the other day. Does a 19-year-old kid, are they familiar with the events of Waco, Texas? So if you make it a joke in regards to something like that, they don't have the context anymore. And now it just seems like this base simplistic joke that's insulting to somebody when in fact the joke was, there's a lot of jokes where you're criticizing bigotry. So you put on blackface like Sarah Silverman did to criticize racism and bigotry, but now they don't have the context anymore. So now they just see a Twitter picture of someone wearing blackface. But what about the context? And that's you made a joke in 1996. Well, you didn't have social media and all this stuff. So now you got to go back and defend it to people who don't understand the world in which the joke or the statement was made. So I just say fuck young people and people in general.
Well, you brought up the Simpsons thing, and that's actually a good point because I made a video on the channel about them wanting to get rid of the Apu character. And someone of Indian, I believe he was actually of Indian descent, made a video defending the Apu character because, like you said, context. Everyone focuses on the first off the fact that Hank Azaria, a white man's doing his voice, um, and then of course he works at a convenience store. A lot of convenience stores are run and owned by people of Middle Eastern descent, but and then the thank you come again, the accent, this and that. But this guy who, like I said, is of Middle Eastern descent, he said, but you're like you said, you're not looking at the context. He is an immigrant who is legal, fought to be legal. He owns his own business. He's very successful. He is married, has children, has friends, is happy 99% of the time. He's very successful, but they're overlooking that. And then you
Yeah,
mentioned this. You mentioned the Simpsons. Um, they just announced that they're no longer going to have white actors voice non-white characters. So that means Dr. Hibbert is going to be gone or replaced. And anyone by Hank Azaria. Dr. Nick is gone. Azaria already said he's not going to be Apu anymore, which is fine. It's just, I think the fucking show's been on for 30 years. It's too little, too late. And
mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put a comment up here. Like Roger says, in the early 80s or late 80s and 90s, Middle Easterns were the go-to bad guys all the time, and especially before 9/11. Like you and I did a True Lies review before, and it's always Crimson Jihad, and all those guys. It's you watch it back then, it's scary, blah blah blah. You watch it now, post 2011, it's just like we've already seen it before. We've lived through that. But again, it's all about context. And me and the wife were watching See No Evil, Hear No Evil the other day. I don't know if you've seen that the Gene Wilder, Richard Pryor movie. One's deaf, one's blind, they witness a murder thing. It just got
Way
me
back in the
thinking,
day, I
like,
did.
it got me thinking, is like, what would, like, everyone says, they'd be rolling in their graves or whatever. It really got me thinking, legitimately, if Richard Pryor was still around, what would he be thinking now? With Eddie Murphy's apologizing for the gay slurs, like in his stand up he did years ago. A lot of people are apologizing. I'm like, I don't think Richard would apologize, because if you've seen his stand up, it's pretty bad. But I really don't think he would. I don't think Carlin would. I'm sure as hell Rodney Dangerfield wouldn't be apologizing for any of this stuff. And I watch a group of guys on YouTube. They're the Double Toasted podcast. Two black guys, two comedians. They're funny. They take pop culture, this and that, and they were talking about, like, the blackface and this and that, and Jimmy Kimmel and Mel Gibson, and they're like these are black guys defending people that used blackface because it was 20 years ago. This guy, this host, he's a black man. He said, "This is, I myself have said some things that were
Exactly.
racist, derogatory, blah blah blah, but that was 10, 15 years ago. I'm not going to apologize for it, but I'm going to move on." You keep dredging up the past, you're going to never learn from it. It's like all this cancel culture that's going around nowadays. Um, Gone with the Wind was taken away. It's back now on HBO, but it's got a discretion thing. That's totally fine. It's like what when Disney Plus came out, and they put like a disclaimer before, like, Peter Pan, because Peter Pan's got the really really racist, like, Native Americans in it, and it says this was a product of its time. That's totally fine. But when you grab something and, like, physically take it away to never see it again, how are people going to learn from the mistakes of this? You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I mean, they're taking down Confederate statues and stuff, and there's 100 variations of the saying, but he who forgets the past is destined to repeat it. When you sit there and say, and what it is, it's this communist brainwashing where people are being mentally conditioned. If you see an image, have this reaction. And so all these liberals are going, I see this image, it makes me uncomfortable. Mommy, daddy, make it go away, make it go away. But if we get rid of blackface and Confederate statues, not saying that people should wear it, I mean, but if you try to, this makes me uncomfortable, I don't want to see this, make this go away. Don't show this old movie from the 1950s anymore because of how Native Americans are portrayed. You're going to end up repeating all these, and that's what is happening now. Liberalism now is a repeat of communism and Bolshevism in Soviet Russia, or the revolution where Tsar Nicholas II. It's all the same stuff. We're in this process of trying to eliminate the past. We've forgotten where this leads to, and so the problem I have with all of this is I don't buy anybody's motivations. I don't buy that the liberals actually give two craps. There's no white liberal SJW from the suburbs who actually cares about black people being offended by blackface. If you do, shut your pie hole and let black people talk about it. So you have these white people going, it's so horrible for black people. Shut up. You're a spoiled kid. Go sit down and be quiet. And if black people got a problem, let them talk about it. I don't believe anybody's motivations. I think this is more of like power grab. This is more about you're using, somebody said something offensive 20 years ago, so you silence their voice. You call them a racist, you call them a bigot, and now they can't have a voice in society. Straight white men, are walking on eggshells. But as the black guys you're talking about, everybody says racist stuff. Everybody creates racist. 20 years ago, like you said, a Richard Pryor, a Chris Rock, a Dave Chappelle. Sarah Silverman's a Jewish lady, and she's getting. I don't. And the difference between white people, Caucasians, honkies like you and I, and Jewish, that line's being dissolved. But it's like it's this Frankenstein monster that was set and designed to go after straight white men, and it's just now obliterating everything. But it's like this is what happens. You turn there, like I was saying, when the context isn't relevant, you just see an image and you start freaking out everything's going to get destroyed, and no one's going to be able to go ask a girl out on a date without worrying about rape accusations. No one's going to be able to tell a joke without worrying that 20 years later that's going to come up when the context is gone and what is accept, so now you're a stand-up comedian and you're not just going, hey, the crowd's laughing, I'm going to tell this joke. Now you got to think, in 50 years, if I'm not dead, is this going to come back to haunt me? Who wants to live in this world? Like, this is moronic. So everything you were talking about, I should have been taking notes because I had responsible for all of it. I agree with what you're saying. Like, you know me, I used to go to church at one point. I used to be a liberal at one point, and now I don't even know what I am. And I'm an atheist, libertarian, I guess. So it's like I used to be on this extreme. Now I'm on this extreme. You change. You get older. You get wiser. You change. So when you pull up tweets from 15 years ago and Kevin Hart, you're like cementing that person as who he was at 22 years old. You're accountable for this forever. It's like nobody anywhere is in the same place at 22 and still at 55. They're still in that place. So I agree with you completely. You have to, you can't just, 20 years ago, you made this statement. You're culpable forever. It's like, you can, if I ran into me at 15, 16, 20 years old, I'd kick my ass and be like, you idiot. You're about to make a whole slew of mistakes you're going to regret. But when you just take a tweet or something you said at a comedy store on the doing stand-up comedy, and that you're just locked into that's who you were 20 years ago when nobody's who they were 20 years ago. So I think there's a nefarious motivation behind it. I don't think we need to protect people from racism also. I think it's more about attacking people to silence silence their political positions. So you call immigration enforcement racist so that people can't criticize immigration. Meanwhile, everybody come in under the same immigration standards is equality. It's applied to everybody the same way. But if you say we need to let Hispanics come in because they're Hispanic, that's now different based on race. Now that's racial discrimination, but it's called equality. But the point is to mentally condition people so that if a straight white male says we got to do something about border security, you go, that's racist. It's a knee-jerk reaction. It's brainwashing. Meanwhile, everybody come in on the same standards is equality. So we've got everybody screaming that what is equality is racism, and what is racism is equality. Everything's upside down. So what needs to happen is that everybody else needs to tell these liberals, these communists, just shut up. We don't care. So Richard Pryor shouldn't apologize. Kevin Hart shouldn't apologize. Nobody should apologize. Everybody should be, listen here, you were just born 5 minutes ago. I've been on this planet for a while. You sit down and you're going to listen to what I have to say, and I'll tell you how this works, because 20-year-old kids don't know shit.
Yeah, and like I'm gonna put Roger's comment back up. Like they want to ban Dirty Harry flicks now because he's a do what he wants to do type of cop, And there's like it's an online petition. Online petitions don't mean dick. It's just someone posting something. Right. But like there's now an online petition to get Netflix to remove the movie Split. I don't know if you know what that one is. The M. Night Shyamalan movie with James McAvoy. He's the guy with the multiple personalities. And they want to get that movie removed from Netflix because it shows people with personality disassociative disorder, whatever it's called, shows them in a bad light. It's a fucking movie. Who cares? So, I mean, what's next? So that means you're going to have to take away Psycho because of, Norman Bates. Him and Mother share the same personality or whatever the fuck ever. You're going to have to get rid of Joker. The Joaquin Phoenix movie. Looks like that's going to be gone. It's just this big snowball, and it's just like, come the fuck on. You're really reaching for a lot of this stuff. It's different. Like, it's movie. It's fantasy. Now we're going to be beware going to a library and going through all that shit because this is going to be banned now, that's going to be banned. Stephen King won't be able to write a whole fucking book ever again. If you've read any of his stuff, racism, homophobia, violence, rape, pedophilia, animal abuse, all the fun stuff, that makes a Stephen King book, he's out of work.
Who else? Who comes to mind? Ironically enough, who comes to mind who did this? Did all the same stuff. Hitler. There's a film called wow, what is it? Shoot, it's got Christian Bale in it, and it's about Nazi Germany, and it's the swing kids, and they're the German Aryan kids who like swing music from the 1930s and 40s, and Hitler was like, you can't listen to this stuff because it's music from black people. So Hitler was the guy who said, you can't listen, you can't observe this art because it was made by the Jews. You can't listen to jazz music because it comes from black people. Hitler went around and said, here's what you can and can't do and what you can and can't say. So all these liberals who are calling everybody Hitler resemble Hitler. They're the one, and who are the conservatives? And the conservatives are saying freedom of speech. It's your freedom to tell that joke. It's your freedom to do that. So we can get lost in who's accusing who of sexual molestation and who told this joke and blackface in this tweet from 20 years ago. What it is tyranny. It's an attempted tyranny. And this is the BS excuse they came up with. So we don't have to defend anything. We need to stop the tyrants before they have too much power. That's what it all boils down to. Go ahead.
Well, with me, and it's ironic. I think I mentioned it before because I use social media, and you had your political channel. Is when people now have a voice on social media, 99% of them shouldn't have the voice because they're talking straight out of their assholes,
Right.
without context, without research, this and that. And that's the problem. Is everyone has a voice, everyone has an opinion, and it is a cliche that I don't really like, but opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got them, and most of them stink. But it's true because I hate this movie. Why? Because it's a remake. I hate this movie. Why? Because it's made by this person. I hate this person because they were associated with that person 20 years ago. Who the fuck cares? It's like this. You don't like this movie? Don't watch it.
Exactly.
You don't like this author's books? Don't read them.
But don't deny that to other people. Who gets to decide? And right now you got a bunch of liberals who can say, I'm offended, so you can't take it off of Netflix. I don't want to read this book as the N-word, so you can't read it. And it's like they get to decide what you can't do. Mm-hmm. And that's tyranny. You're muted. Eric, you're muted.
No, okay. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this fucking thing, but you know who else is going to suffer? Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to be gone. He drops the N-word at least 20 times per movie. Half the time it's by him himself. But everybody is going to suffer. Like Roger said, Dirty Harry movies. You're going after Dirty Harry movies now. Clint was making those movies in the 70s, 80s. Fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to see where it's gotten because, like I said, it is the perfect analogy, walking on eggshells, because you don't want to crack this one because this person's going to know about it, and then 5 years later, you're fucked. And that's a lot of people are saying, Hollywood is being destroyed because no one has original ideas anymore because, everything's a remake. No. Hollywood is being destroyed because they can't make certain movies because, that movie will get banned or taken away. Gone with the Wind. I've never seen it, never had a desire to see it. I do podcasts, my co-host Frenzy. It's one of his legit top 5 movies of all times. He likes that type of stuff. And, a lot of people were freaking out because they're taking it away, and all this and that. But I believe first ever African American to win the Academy Award was from Gone with the Wind. So if they did take that away and it's gone forever, that history is being just, is disappeared. Even though the actress was playing a mammy, it's still taken away the fact that she was the first African American to win an Academy Award. So this cancel culture is worse, in my opinion, than anything that they're trying to do.
Yeah, but as you made the point earlier, and I was saying earlier, this started out as like mostly in straight white men, but it's a Frankenstein on the loose. So the Wayans brothers who made the movie about white, it was just white girls. There's just no there. Richard Pryor, uh, Chris Rock couldn't tell the same jokes, and even we're going way back, but again, Kevin Hart, to me, that's like 5 minutes ago. He's got to be, so it's like Roseanne's out of work. And I don't think people know this. She's a Jewish lady. She's not a honky, but it's like, and again, Sarah Silverman. So it used to be like, oh, if you're, I keep trying to think, Andrew Dice Clay. You're like more of an extreme example. Watch out, Andrew Dice Clay. Now it's nobody's safe. And that's how this, again, you forget history. That's how this always goes. It starts out, let's ban Alex Jones, and it becomes everybody. And it's just like Nazi Germany. If you were overheard questioning the Fuhrer, the SS or the Gestapo, they'd show up the next day and you're gone and never seen or heard from again, just like all these people's careers. Today it's careers, tomorrow it's actual lives. That's just where this goes. It's why I voted for Trump. I'm not a huge fan, but he's not on the bandwagon of communism. So I'm on a rant, but it's just this is right now. It's like, oh, poor Ron Jeremy or some tweet or actors, and soon enough, this is where this goes. It's to nobody's safe and nobody's free, and nobody can say anything without worrying about the fear coming to get them. And what's interesting is there is no Stalin, there is no Hitler. It's just everybody. There's no control. Again, it's a Frankenstein just rampaging around. And why are we letting this happen? We should be standing up for these people and saying, no, fuck you, 20-year-old kid. You don't tell me what to do. You go sit down at the kiddie table and you learn something. And the adults, I don't know why everybody's bowing. Why are we bowing down to these people? What is, and then, so YouTube starts censoring stuff and Twitter and everybody else. Again, go over to BitChute and everything else and Gavin Mines. Like, I don't know why we're allowing this to happen. It's a small handful of very unintelligent people going on a temper tantrum. Spank them and put them in their place. Don't be controlled by them. I don't get why we're doing this. Doesn't make
Well,
a damn
that's the perfect way to say it. Is it's a temper tantrum. Yeah, and it's true. Why are we bowing down to these people? Is it because they're the ones that are bringing the money to Hollywood? No. I mean, you haven't gone to the movie theaters in probably 30 years, but then again, you don't like anything new. You haven't liked a new movie in 30 years. That's why you're still in the 80s and 90s. Kind of like me for the most part. But Roger just posted, maybe they'll ban the Goonies next because there's a deformed person in it. There goes the Elephant Man. Everyone says, the Elephant Man was a great movie, that Anthony Hopkins movie. That'll be gone.
They were accepting the deformed guy. That, hey, you guys, they became their friend. I was just watching Revenge of the Nerds. Wait till they get to that. Wait till the commies come for that one. And I was watching it had to be the second one, and the ogre guy ends up befriending the nerds. Yeah, it was the second one. So it's just like, but so here's the thing that commies aren't getting, and I'm not going to call them liberals. It's just communism. It is what it is. They don't understand satire, and with satire, it's a format where you start out like Huckleberry Finn, and Huckleberry Finn, and I think it's just called Huckleberry Finn. Everybody's teaching them racism. His dad, the lady with him, everybody's teaching him don't trust black people this. But then he runs into Jim. They end up sailing down the Mississippi. And by the end of the book, he realizes all the flaws in what people have been telling him. And, just by going through life, he realizes, like, Jim's a good guy. I like Jim. So with satire, you start out with racism, you start out with a stereotype, but then you turn it on its head and you see, here's the flaws in your thinking. And the communists, they just hear the N word, they have a knee jerk reaction, and again, no context. So if they're trying for years, they've been trying to get rid of Huckleberry Finn because it has the N word in it. But the point in the book is that that's a flawed thinking. That Huckleberry's dad was wrong for teaching his son these things. And so it's the same thing like Revenge of the Nerds is a movie about acceptance and tolerance. Goonies, here's the little goofball losers, but they're cool guys. And The Simpsons was all about acceptance and tolerance. Apu, see, here's Apu. Here's the stereotype. But then when you get to know him, he's a really cool guy, and everybody likes Apu. But all that's gone because liberals are like autistic and don't understand what satire is. They don't understand a joke. They don't understand comedy. So Sarah Silverman goes and does a blackface joke, but the point is the flaw. She's pointing out the flaw in blackface. She's pointing out the thinking there as flawed. She's not supporting it. And the kids today have, again, context gone. They have no capacity to discern, are you doing this to offend people? Or are you pointing out the flaw in doing this? And so it's just, again, it's monsters on a rampage, and we need to stop them because we've got scant for rights and freedoms left anymore. Ping pong to you, buddy.
Yeah. Roger and Sasha both brought up, like simple movies like Rush Hour 2, goofy, fun, stupid action movies, movies you wouldn't be caught dead watching, but they have a place in Hollywood. People like Jackie Chan. I like Jackie Chan. I tolerate Chris Tucker for the most part. Like, I got one of my favorite movies. I know you love it, Fifth Element.
Mm-hmm.
But they were mentioning how, what about when Chris Tucker, like, I'll put it up here. What about when, Chris Tucker says, y'all look alike? He says that to Jackie Chan. Or, the joke, when Jackie says, what's up, my N-word to the black guys. It's context. He sees Chris Tucker doing it. He's learning English. He's learning American culture. He sees Chris Tucker do it. He thinks it's okay. And then he realizes, no, it's not. Because they take offense to it. Context. Like we're saying.
I think we can kick this horse, but it's just unfortunate. Somebody somewhere has to stand up to this. So if Netflix is going to ban all this stuff, I wish I could win that lottery ticket, and I would set up the opposite and the other Netflix, and then you're banning Dirty Harry? I'll show Dirty Harry. Screw you, buddy. We need that other thing, and let it. So long as we still have free market capitalism, again, there needs to be the opposite of all of it. The other Twitter where you can say what you like, and so forth. But I don't like you were saying. You stated perfectly fine. You don't like that movie? Don't watch it. You don't like that song? Don't watch it. You don't like that comedian? Don't go to their show. But don't tell everybody else what they can and can't do. And that's where, let's just fight the war, and let's just have World War III and everybody kill everybody, and we'll do this all over again every century. We'll just keep doing this because stupid is as stupid does. Forrest Gump's mom was a smart lady.
Yeah, I had a whore too, but she got that boy through college, didn't she? Yeah,
Your mama really cares about you, boy.
The funny thing is, you know what? It's funny how I was waiting for when all these accusations were to come out. I was waiting for someone to just accuse Tom Hanks. Wouldn't that would be worse, I think, than Bill Cosby. That would blow my mind even more that Tom Hanks was a serial rapist, or he was like Gacy and had children under the crawl space or something like that. But it is always the one you least suspect. other than Ron Jeremy, everyone knows that fucker did it, and everyone knows Weinstein did it. But it'd be like Mr. Rogers, you know, kidnapping homeless people and skinning them alive or type of thing. You don't expect that type of shit. And I literally was because now you don't watch wrestling, but everything's coming out like all these people in wrestling are now getting accused of like the Me Too movement and all this and that. And it's just like no one's safe.
Yep.
And people wonder, Eric, why don't you leave your house? I hate everybody. And the problem is now I hate everybody, so I stay home. But now they're fucking with my social media, so I can't even do that.
Exactly. That's an excellent point because there is no, and it stops with this, like with Tom Hanks, nobody is safe. So it all started out with the easy targets, but eventually it's going to be everybody, and eventually it's going to be everything. This is a repeat of Soviet Russia and Nazi Germany. You know, you start going after the easy targets, you go after the Jews, but then nobody's safe. You know, so it's at some point we need to wake up to that fact and stand up and say no and say, God damn it, I will watch Revenge of the Nerds, and I will talk about it on my YouTube channel with my buddy, even though it had, you know, the bit where they're filming women without them knowing it kind of thing. It was 30 years ago, almost 40 years ago. Different world.
Yeah, it was like 86 or something like that. But
the first one probably like
yeah, but like Sasha's saying it right there on the screen. It's amazing. People are just stupid. Like I finally saw Idiocracy for the first time, like a few months ago. And I'm like, holy shit! I've been avoiding it because I don't really care for Mike Judd if it's not Beavis and Butthead. Like I didn't like King of the Hill, and he did a couple other things. Like I saw Office Space like 20 years too late, so I didn't really give a shit about it. But I saw Idiocracy. I'm like, wow, this shit is like really, really fucking relevant now. I'm just literally waiting for people to be drinking stuff with electrolytes because it's what they need and stupid shit like that. It's great. Holy shit! I feel like Luke Wilson every now and then, and it's fucked up. It's like it's the live action version of like Simpsons did it, because Simpsons have predicted all this shit, and it's just amazing.
I showed that to some liberal friends in college. One girl in particular who won sociologist of the year at her university. But I showed her the movie because I thought she'd be interested in it because it's like a study on humanity and stuff. And she was like, "That was so racist. I was offended. I was going to walk out." And I'm like, everybody is equally stupid. That's called equality. Everybody was in the same situation. It was all the same for everyone. Everything was a dump. If everybody's equally stupid, that's equality. But again, it's the semantics. They'll be like, that's racist. You can't say that. They're not looking at the definition of the word racism. They mean that's offensive. That offended me. I didn't want to see that. And it's like, then shut the fuck up and go back to the kiddie table with your thumb up your ass. But I'm gonna go watch that movie. Like but those are the people that have the microphone of society. They're the ones that can slam the gavel, and they have no concept of what they're talking about. I guarantee you, 99.999% of all these liberals who are signing petitions that you can't go see Rush Hour 2 anymore have never seen Rush Hour 2. Somebody said that, somebody said the N-word, so we need to ban this film. But they never saw the film. They don't know anything about the film. They don't get the context. And one of the things this young girl says was she was talking about some of the actresses. One of the actresses, I'm like, that's a comedian from SNL. Like, this is comedy. It's satire. Yeah, but there's a psychosis at play here. They can't understand what comedy is. These liberals literally do not. It's like autism. They do not understand what is an actual statement about something and what is a satire. What is comedy? They don't. They have no. They don't get it. It doesn't. It doesn't fit in. And maybe it's just brainwashing. I don't know.
Yeah, but I was very very pleased with Idiocracy. I was laughing my ass off from like beginning to end, and like my friends at work are telling me, I'm like, so it's basically like if Fry from Futurama gets
Yep.
sent to like some world that's been, seriously like in like the backwoods, barefoot hillbilly type of era, and it was amazing. Luke Wilson literally acted like how I thought I would act.
Yep.
And pretty soon we're gonna get to the point. Like, just look at it's not to knock them, but look at the people at fast food joints. They're now it's now push buttons, just like the fucking hospital scene.
Yep.
When they're trying to figure out what's wrong with Luke Wilson, you got the nurse or doctor or whatever hitting the push buttons on the keyboard, and it's literally just pictures. Um, yeah,
Yep.
this has been kind of a real downer, since tonight, hasn't it?
It started out with rape and it just kept getting worse. Oh, it was never upbeat and happy. Um but yeah, so for Roger and Sasha, I got Whitey the White Guy show back up running, and that's just like movie reviews. And so I haven't done a whole lot, but I've been downloading movies, and like I said, I went back through and I just was rewatching Revenge of the Nerds. So and my question to you is like, I've been doing your format where I just sit here and talk about it, and like, do I even bother editing in clips? So, oh, there's a guy I found. I did a shout out on one of my channels. It's Wiggy's 23, I think. He's got some really good stuff. So I'm going to be doing shout outs to small channels and try
Yeah,
to get
I
people.
subbed to him, and I watched his review of the. Honestly, it was the Judy Garland movie with
Yeah,
Renee Zellweger. That movie's really fucking good, dude. I'm
cool.
serious. It's really, really good. Renee Zellweger was fantastic. It's a really good, depressing drama. But
Yeah,
If you know Judy Garland's if you know Judy Garland's story, it's nothing but depressing. Ever since
yes.
the Wizard of Oz, taping her boobs down, forcing diet pills on her and smoking cigarettes to stunt her growth and all that stupid shit. And they go into the multiple marriages. One husband left her for another man, and this and that, and a lot of her drug addiction. But it was a fantastic movie. And who was this guy that you shouted out?
Hey, Wiggy's 23.
Whitey's 23. I liked his style. It's just him
Yeah,
sitting down. He doesn't do too much like backstories or any of that stuff. It's just literally what he thinks about the film. And I know I've gotten on your butt many times because you were the reason why I got into YouTube, because I was on YouTube on your channel first, like many moons ago, like 13 channels of years ago. You know what I mean?
yes.
And I kept telling you, we have a lot of good shit, a lot of good chemistry. What's killing you is the fucking copyright. Like, the copyrights come to bite me in the ass with all my cartoon commentary. So I'm gonna move them
Yeah,
to like Minds or Vimeo or some shit like that, where no one gives a shit about copyright. But the thing is, though, it's not really worth it, because I would rather have my stuff viewable than, because you show me, like, we were doing Gattaca, and you were showing me like what you did from step one to edit in everything. And as neat as it was, it sucked knowing that you put in all that effort and then it's gone.
yeah,
So is it really worth it? Because look what it did. It got you so fucking depressed. How many
yeah.
times did you leave YouTube? At least 3 or 4, because you were tired of it?
Lost track.
Yeah.
And what kills you is that it's not the stuff you just posted up. It's something that comes back from a year ago and 2 years ago. And so we did Die Hard when we were just getting started back in like 15. And that went through its review. And then a year later it came back with a strike. And it's like, I already had one strike. If you get 3, you're done. So it's like you got to stop putting up. And so yeah, I don't know how people do that. I don't know how they get around it. Obviously, I don't. But when I was driving, I was thinking the Fuzzy Wuzzy was a woman scene from See Oh and Evil Hear No Evil. It made me laugh so hard. I'm glad nobody was hurt. It's because you drive on the wrong side of the road. There was nobody else there. I'm gonna have to go watch those again. Blazing Saddles, you can't do it anymore. You can't be funny anymore.
No, even Mel Brooks himself has said that. He says, this culture that we're in now, it's killed comedy because there's no way in fuck you'd be able to have Blazing Saddles nowadays. You know, it'd be hard, like, you know, Men in Tights with all the little gay jokes. That would be kind of pushing it nowadays. You know, the whole yes, you know, we're
As harmless as that movie is.
It's sad, which is why I'm glad, you know, there's DVDs and Blu-rays, or, you know, Pirate Bay, or, you know, Mrs. Torrance, as some people calls it, you know, ways to find these movies, because like I said, cancel culture it makes it disappointing. Like, it sucks. You know, there would be, you can find anything in anything. Like, again, Kevin Spacey. Are we gonna pull his movies? Are we gonna pull The Usual Suspects, or Seven, or fucking even K-Pax? I'm like one of like three people that enjoy K-Pax. You know, we're gonna pull it because, you know, he tried to molest the Adventures of Babysitting Kid, among other guys. Are we gonna, you know, are we gonna pull the X-Men movies because Bryan Singer is supposedly a child molester? You know, it's like, bye Rosemary's Baby, because, you know, Roman Polanski did what he did. You know, again, guess you got to get rid of Quentin Tarantino's movies. He drops the N word. He personally, I think that's why Tarantino puts himself in the movies, just so he can say it and get away with it, because he's a character. I mean, look at From Dusk Till Dawn. You know, the vampire movie. Quentin Tarantino's the biggest pervert in the world. In that movie, he has Juliette Lewis asking him to eat her out, and he gets, you know, he's a foot fetish guy. He has Selma Hayek's foot in his mouth for like 30 seconds. He puts himself in his movies just so he can get away with it. But the problem is, he says these things so many times.
Hi.
But he says these things so many times, you're going to have to yank his movies off the shelves. But they won't, because he's Tarantino.
Yeah.
It's just like Polanski. Polanski made Rosemary's Baby and whatever other fucking movies he made. Those movies are safe.
The ninth gate with Johnny Depp. So that's double indemnity. You got Polanski and Johnny Depp, and that's a really good movie. But the context is everything. We're getting lost in what are we going to defend? Fuck that. We need to go on the offensive and go after liberals. And again, all this stuff, where's it coming from? Hollywood. So how are Hollywood liberals lecturing the rest of society about anything when they've gone rape crazy for 30 years? You know, but they'll be like, you need to push all this liberal, like we have to listen to them about immigration and more bad. And, you know, they're going to tell us they're going to take away our guns. And all of this is coming from them. So what we need to do is just like say, no, we're not giving you a decameter because you'll take the whole thing. So we just need to put the foot down and say, no, you're not taking away anything. And so we've already screwed up by capitulating to anything at all. That opened the door for everybody to come in. And again, there's nothing left that is safe. And so I don't know why we're letting them do this. I don't get it. But we've kind of made that point 3 or 4 times. This is normally where I say what kind of movies are coming out, but you know, who's remaking what?
Well, they're making a third Bill and Ted movie and a fourth Matrix movie. I don't know. Everything's been canceled though. So who the fuck will, you know, there hasn't been a movie in theaters for what, 2 months? Yeah. And they're moving all these things to like next year. The last movie I saw was in like February. I took the little tater tot to go see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. We had a lot of fucking fun with that movie. But the thing is, they're moving everything like Fast and the Furious now. Say what you will about the movies, who cares? They're mindless fun. They're dumb, but that was supposed to come out in like August or September, and now they're moving it to like March of next year because my beer because they're worried about COVID and all this shit. But a lot of their stuff, it's automotive, so it's going to be in Asia. So they're worried about people. They want to make the international money. It's just there's nothing coming out.
Yeah.
I mean, I looked forward to Star Wars every December, but that's it. There really isn't anything other than like kiddie movies to take our child to. It's going to drag me into the movie theaters. Do I want to see Bill and Ted 3? It could be fun. I thought the trailer looked kind of retarded at the end, but do I need to see it on a big screen? Fuck no. I'll watch it on TV.
What about that Kevin Bacon?
But it's good.
No.
No, I don't remember. The Kevin Bacon horror movie. I don't need to see that in the theater. But it's like everything now. Just go video on demand. Make your money that way. People can watch it in the comfort of their own homes. They don't have to pay $50 to see a movie and get all the fucking concessions because that's where they make their money anyways.
I just read Sasha's comment. Did you see that? The one thing he has in common with Tarantino.
Well, he's got two things in common with Tarantino. He likes feet and he likes black chicks. So he's our own little British QT.
Yeah. Ah, man. It's good to be back. It's good to see these guys again.
Well, it's been
A long time.
Last time you were over here, obviously it was before COVID, so at least 2 months. And before that happened, you moved back to our hometown after you moved out of Mom's because of whatever was going on. Then you moved back to Mom's because you're living with somebody because you're happy that Schmace is gone. And that was one of the funniest videos I've seen in a long, long time because you just did your happiest happy dance.
Happy.
Yeah, he was so happy that Schmace was gone. And then now, it's great that we can fucking do this and you don't have to drive a half hour and then drive a half hour back, at like, I don't know how late we're going to do this tonight, but like at 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Then, because now you can stay at home and have your Taco Bell while you eat. You don't have to wait until we're done. You know what I mean?
Oh, goodness. And I also, too, it's a much more, it's not Monday to Friday, it's Sunday to Thursday. But it's like every week it's the same thing. At my previous job, I never knew what my schedule was going to be like. It was Monday to Friday, but then I was picking up so much overtime. There's no way.
And I think Whitey is frozen. There you are.
Back.
Okay.
Wait, I tell you what, though, now that happened, I'm jonesing for a cigarette. So do you want to take a break, Coach, or what do you want to do?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, it's 11:30 now. How much longer you plan on going?
I say let's go ahead and call it now.
Okay.
Because I got some stuff I need to do.
No, Sasha. We called you a British QT, Quentin Tarantino. Now, Whitey might think you're a British cutie. He likes the way you guys drive on the road. but
yeah, I gotta go find some food and get some stuff. It's the middle of the afternoon for me. If I was at work, our first break would be in an hour. But let's go ahead and this has been a pretty good success. Let's go ahead and call it now. Do you want to do another one tonight, or tomorrow night, and just pop in for an hour?
Tomorrow night's going to be tough. Probably not because I am actually, like I've told you to get into podcasting. It's like my 1 year anniversary of doing like my Two Bearded Losers podcast.
Oh, wow.
So what we're doing tomorrow is we're actually like literally doing like a Q&A. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Like some of the questions are like, I've already looked. So like, how did we meet? How long does it take to edit an episode? But then there's really fun questions like who has the best tits in horror, who would win in this fight. So it's a lot of fun. Now that we know how to work this, we're definitely going to have to get you on because we're going to have my buddy Jay on. We're going to have a couple other guest stars. Rachel's been on a few. She's our unofficial producer. It's going to be a lot of fun. So tomorrow will be tough, but we can definitely start doing this shit a lot more regular. I mean, Roger said it was great seeing us. It was great seeing Roger. It's great being able to fucking do this again. You know, seeing Sasha and like being able to participate. Like I said, StreamYard finally realized, hey, people don't all have computers or they have shitty ones like us. So, but we definitely, you know, you got to do some research. We'll get it on your channel too because live streams bring in subscribers, and if you just do a lot of fucking live streams and you have guests on, I'm not just saying me, like your other friends too, it'll drive it up and keep the no, he's not gonna have Schmace on. Although that would be could you imagine me and you like interviewing your sister live on YouTube?
I can imagine it. I saw the first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan, so I have a pretty good idea what that would be like. I gotta say, since she's gone, it's like the hurricane left town and everything is nice and peaceful and quiet. The animals are more settled and happy. I'm not making that up. It's a better world.
Well, that's great. Ghostbusters, man, he's a subscriber. He just popped in as we're getting ready to leave, so sorry about that. But this has been a lot of fun. We're gonna do it again. You know, we got the band back together, although we have 100% less charisma than the Blues Brothers. We're just a couple fat bearded guys with no charisma. But this is fun. We'll definitely be doing it again. And like I said, if you do your research, and we'll do some more on your channel too. And,
yeah,
you know, I know,
yeah,
it'll be a lot of fun. So with this, I'm going to say, you know, thanks for watching all that shit. Comment below. Go to Whitey's channel. It's literally Whitey the White Guy. You look at his ugly mug right here on the screen. That's the picture in the avatar. If you're new to this channel, and it's really just Roger and Sasha, but I've known you for fucking, what, 20 years? And it's just basically you're a younger version of me who's more political. That's it. You hate everything a little bit more. So I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna end this. I've got some beer to drink. And probably I'm gonna watch like Toxic Avenger 3 or some stupid shit. But it was fun, Whitey, and we'll do it again.
All right, sounds good.
All right, we got to do it.
Right. Good journey.
We fucked that up. Do it again.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Good journey.
Good journey.
We fucking suck.
There's a delay.
Yeah. Later, bud.